Broadcast, and we will be broadcasting. All right, and Chris, can you hit record?
I just did.
Awesome. Excellent. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Millionaires Club. I see the conference room filling up right and left. So let me give a few moments for everyone to be entered into the room. And I want to welcome all of you today. So I'm seeing the attendee list populating. And so let me just give a little second to give everyone a chance to come into the virtual room. I want to welcome everyone today and thank you so much for your time. Excellent. Okay, looks like most everyone is in. So good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Millionaires Club. It is my honor and my privilege to welcome all of you here today for the first of 6 webinars where we're going to explore how to become a millionaire, which is going to be a whole lot of fun. So the first thing I want to do, and by the way, if I didn't mention it, my name is Angela. I work at Region 1 Education Service Center. I'm an education specialist with the Gear Up program, and I'm delighted to be able to host this. So first of all, I want to discuss what exactly is a millionaire. You're probably wondering to yourself, what is this club I'm signed into? What is this webinar I'm signed into? What is this all about? The word millionaire may have caught your interest. So let's just stop and think for a moment. What is a millionaire? What comes to your mind when you think of a millionaire? Kind of close your eyes for a minute and think, what do you imagine when you think of a millionaire? And let's see if any of these images came to your mind. I've put some images on here that often come to people's mind, but there may be one that's a little surprising. So let's kind of talk about them a little bit. Oftentimes when people think of a millionaire, one of the first things that comes to some people's mind is they think of like maybe an elite athlete, maybe an NFL player, maybe an NBA basketball star like LeBron James or Michael Jordan. You can tell I don't play basketball a whole lot, right? But a lot of times people think of elite athletes, and the truth is that oftentimes elite athletes are millionaires, but not all of them, because there are some elite athletes that make a lot of money, but they spend it all, and then they don't have anything left, and they're not millionaires anymore. So kind of think about that. I put another image on the page that kind of represents another image that many of us have of a millionaire, and that's maybe like a celebrity. And oftentimes we see on social media and in the news and television, we see celebrities with a very luxurious lifestyle. They wear oftentimes designer clothing. They drive very fancy cars. They may have pictures of a mansion that they live in. And sometimes celebrities are millionaires. That's often true, but not always, because there are many celebrities that have like a moment of fame and they make a lot of money, but then they spend it all. And then they're not very wealthy anymore because they spent everything. They didn't hang on to anything and keep it. But I want you to look at the third picture I put on this screen, and it's a picture of somebody, I don't know what kind of a tool that is. If it's like it looks like it's a trimmer of some type. You can tell I don't use a lot of lawn equipment either. But one thing I want to point out, I put this picture here because a lot of us do ordinary things like working in the yard and living ordinary lives. And I wanted to drive the point home that I started this club called the Millionaires Club because I want everyone to understand that most millionaires are people that have a decent job, they make a decent income, and they're just like you and me. They're ordinary people, just like you and me. They probably don't live in a mansion. They probably don't wear designer clothes. They probably don't drive fancy cars, but they're ordinary, hardworking people that have the discipline to save and invest over time. Oftentimes you may pass by a millionaire and not even know they're a millionaire because they don't look like that image we have of one. So we created this club to kind of show you how. So how do you do that? How do you accumulate and save money? And it's pretty simple. The first thing you do is get a good job. Okay, we're going to talk about that today. And then the second thing is you don't spend everything you make. It's pretty much just that easy, but it also takes time and discipline. So we're going to talk during this course of this 6-week webinar series about how to do that. So let me kind of tell you a little bit about what to expect. This webinar series is more than an activity where you sit and listen to people talking and telling you what to do, which that's cool. That's how we get a lot of good advice sometimes, but we learn things better when we actually do something, when we actually have an activity that we can get our hands on and practice. So what we're going to do is we're going to have the 6 webinars, one each week for the next 6 weeks. And we're going to do this in the form of a simulation. So think of the word simulation. It may remind you of the word imitate. Okay, a simulation is an imitation or a model. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a model of your potential adult life. So I want you to kind of set the stage. Imagine that you're 22. And I chose the age of 22 because by that age, more than likely you will have finished your high school education and some form of post-secondary education. You'll probably be ready to start your adult life around that age, maybe a little sooner, maybe a little later, but let's go with 22 for the sake of the simulation. So think for a moment of yourself at the age of 22. Where do you see yourself working? What type of lifestyle do you see yourself having? And that's what we're going to create. We're going to create a model of your future life. We're going to work together through the next 6 weeks using real job information, real salaries, and real expenses to create a model of your adult life. And along the way, I'm going to show you how to save and invest so that over time, if you have grit and discipline, you can become a millionaire. So you may have noticed that we're in what's called a Zoom webinar, which is really different from maybe other meetings you've been in. If you've done Zoom meetings, you're accustomed to being able to see each other and having the chat button. Maybe your school uses Google Meets or another type of platform. We're using Zoom webinar for this particular series. So we want to invite your questions using the Q&A button. So anytime I say anything and you're like, what? I don't understand that. I want to ask her a question. Anytime one of my panelists comes on and you want to ask them a question, please write your question using the Q&A button because we truly want to hear from you. And now I'm really excited to introduce you to today's guest speaker. And she has explicitly asked me to let you know that that Q&A button is there. She loves questions. And so I'm going to ask you to think of a question while she's talking to you so that you can ask it through the Q&A. And what we can do is we can either answer the question directly on the screen, or we can even unmute you and allow you to have a conversation, which would really be awesome. We really want to hear from you. So it is my pleasure to introduce you to someone who I've worked with for the last 10 years, but more importantly, I consider my friend and my mentor. This is Norma Ortiz McCormick, and she's a director of the Region 1 ESC Office of College, Career, and Life Readiness. And she is going to start us off today giving us some of her wisdom and information about selecting your career. And so Norma, I'm going to stop sharing and let me make sure that you are a co-host so that you can share your screen. Perfect. And you are now a co-host, and so you are able to screen share as soon as you're ready.
Perfect. Thank you, Angela.
You're so welcome.
So as Angela said, I serve as director here for the Office of College, Career, and Life Readiness, budget manager, director for the Center for College and Life Readiness. I work on writing grants, collaborating, supporting our team in anything they do and everything they do And I am very blessed to serve with such a dynamic, committed, engaged team. They really are. We have grown in our office from about 8 people to almost 30. And this is a reflection of their work, their effort throughout all these years. And as I think about, what it means for us, I always think about the vision that we have for you. And for me, it's important that you know that, because we want all of you to attain your unique potential, whatever that might be, to enhance your quality of life. And quality of life, when you think about what Angela was saying, for me, quality of life, what I want to see for others is that they have access to healthcare, that they have a life and make a living that provides for them and their families. That, you don't have to worry about if food is going to be on the table the next day because there's not enough to eat. That you have opportunity to create your own jobs, because we are in the United States of America, where anything is possible. Endless possibilities. My favorite word is possibility. There's a couple: possibility, opportunity. I really believe in creating opportunities, not just for myself, but for others. I am a servant leader. I believe in paying it forward and making sure that anything that is given to me by God, because I'm very faith-filled and always lean on my faith, my friends and my family. And I think about, what does that mean for me and my kids, but what does it mean for the rest of the people we serve? Every day I wake up and I think, today I'm going to do the best I can in this job, because I know that you're counting on me, and this team to do the best we can every day. That's our charge, to make sure that you get the best, that you get the best resources, that you get the best opportunities, that you get everything that you need. And so in our team, we have specialists that work with our high schools. And Angela is my dear friend. We've been together for a long time. And so, she's an athlete. She's amazing. Chris is also my dear friend. I know his family very well. I believe in collaborating, guys. I believe in, sometimes you think, well, you know what, I'm in this position and I'm the boss and all that stuff. That's not what it is. You are there to serve your group and your team, and to serve all the people, facilitators and students in your community. That's our job, to be a servant leader. Sometimes we might get confused about that, but it needs to be clear in our head. Whenever you are going for a position of leadership, know that your position there is to serve others. It's not to serve yourself. It's to serve other people. And that's how I see life and the opportunities that I have been given. I started my family very, very poor in Mexico, in Reynosa. My mom is right there. That's my 4th birthday. There's a cake on that chair that my mom made for me. And that's my little dress, and I have the little white socks and the little black shoes. And my family, one of the things that they always, always taught me was having a work ethic like nobody's business. We work hard. We work every day. My brothers, my sister, my mom, my dad, may he rest in peace, are always working. We don't know, we're kind of workaholics, honestly. I have had to work on that part, on balancing my life, to make sure that I'm not just working, but I'm looking at how do I enjoy my life and make the life my life, and design it so that it serves me, so that it nurtures me. So we were poor. We didn't have a lot, but you know what? We had a lot of love in our community. Whenever I had a birthday party like that one, everybody showed up from the neighborhood. Whether they were invited or not, they would show up. And they were all there, and we would celebrate. And we would celebrate together. And every party we had, it was at least 50 people. And it was a pachanga. And the belief that education and the impact it can have on somebody's life is what my mom would always tell me. Go to school, whatever you do, you're going to have that education, and nobody can take that away from you. And it is true. I am a lifelong learner. Every opportunity I have to learn and grow and stretch, I do that, because I don't want to be, somebody raised their hand. Kayla, I think. Okay, Crystal, did you want to ask me something? let me know because I can't see while I'm presenting, but if you can help me, Angela.
Yes, I'll keep an eye on that.
Thank you. I want to make sure. So it was that belief. And then later when I'll tell you a little bit about my trajectory so you can see, but I had to believe that the world was my oyster, that anything was possible. You know what, guys? I still believe that. And I know the world is abundant and I know there's enough for all of us. And so I believe in collaboration, not competition. I compete against myself. I want to make sure that I'm a better version of myself than I was 5 years ago, that I, improve on my skills and develop those skills and continue to grow as a human being. And not just academically, but looking at myself spiritually, emotionally, physically. My health wasn't that great like 5 to 8 years ago. And I have worked on my health and worked on my health. And now my family and I, I'm vegetarian 4 out of the 7 days a week. And it has really helped me feel a lot better and has given me that extra energy, that extra boost to continue to do what I love to do, which is education. Education, entrepreneurship, business, creating anything is what I love. Opportunities at school during K-12, I took them all. Any opportunity, I was in basketball in middle school, I was in volleyball in middle school, and I developed lifelong friends. I have friends that I still meet with. Before COVID and everything, we would meet every month, and they've been my friends since we were in middle school. And I treasure those friendships, and they have, seen me from when I was little to now, and they really know me well, and they give me so much support, and I love that. And my mom too. My mom is still working at the age of 66. My mom worked at Levi's for 20 plus years until they closed the plant. And at that point in time, they gave them a plan where they could go back and do reskilling, retraining. So she went back and she learned English. My mom is so smart that when she was in Mexico, she was learning English in 3rd grade. She's a genius. She is somebody that, she's my mentor, my support, my mom. I love her to death. And I'm so blessed to have her in my life because she really has also shown me what it's like to have that strong faith. And I have seen that in her all my life. And so those opportunities, that they were in middle school, I wouldn't have had them if my friends hadn't said, you know what, Norma, we know your mom works and you might not have a ride back and forth from school, but we will give you rides. So my friend Irene, my friend Reina, they're still my friends, like I said, they would give me rides. So I started learning to lean on my friends and ask for that support. And it's really important that you also do that. As we're going with COVID and everything that's happening, know that you're not alone and you have your friends, you have your facilitators, you have our team here that is here for you. That's why we exist. We exist to support you. So I started working from the age of 16 and I haven't stopped. Like I told you, I loved it. I started working at Service Merchandise in the jewelry department. And because of my work ethic and because when I started, I was with the Distributive of Education Clothes of America, and my teacher, Ms. Montemayor, went and introduced me to the general manager and asked if I could have a job working in the jewelry department. And he said, normally we don't hire 16-year-olds to do that because you have to take a lot of responsibility. And it's jewelry and diamonds and all of that. And so he said, you know what, we'll go ahead and try it out and see how it works. And I was there for 7 years. I was there for 7 years. And at some point in time, because they saw how I worked, they wanted me to be management and they wanted me to go through the manager training. And I told them, well, that's a path. And that's, when you're trying to make choices in your life, and I want you to know that these choices are going to come up and you're going to have to just think carefully and work with your family. And I pray and ask for guidance. And I decided, you know what? I told them, I really want to continue with my school. I want to continue with my school. I want to earn my bachelor's. I want to do all of that. So I was the first person in my family to get the high school diploma and then to get a bachelor's. And my cousins and I all, received our bachelor's, some masters. A lot of them are nurse practitioners. My sister is registered nurse, an RN. My mom became a CNA after she got retrained. She became a CNA. She learned English. She became a US citizen. And now she's still working and providing because she doesn't want to leave the person that she's taking care of alone. And So I'm really proud of her because I think a lot of times we talk about a lot of things, but it's through our actions that we're able to really show what is possible to others, especially to our own children and people we work with. So I learned about teamwork, setting goals. We had jewelry, so of course I would get a bonus if I sold a certain number, a certain amount. I needed to meet that quota, which I would, and then I would get bonuses. So at that age, I was only 16, 17, 18. I was making quite a bit of money. And then I became a diamond sales consultant. They said, do you want to do that? I said, yes. I went through training on how to become a diamond sales consultant. I learned about the 4 C's, the color, cut, clarity, and there's another one that I'm missing. Anyway, so I learned all of that and the different cuts of diamonds at that point in time, because there's a lot of new ones now. And I was like, oh my God, I love jewelry. And every day when we were done, we would put the jewelry away in the safe. And there was a lot of trust, that happened. So I want you to keep that in mind as you're moving and making your decisions. Think about the person that you want to be. I think beyond, what career, but what kind of person do you want to be? When people see you and they see your potential and they say, oh my God, I need to move that person to the next level. They're ready for me to promote them and I want to promote them. And when I have the funding, I will promote them because that person is committed. They show up, they're prepared, they're ready to work, they collaborate, they work as a team, they get it done. And that is important. Those are a lot of things that people don't talk about. Those are the things that we need to develop in ourselves. And a lot of times you might say, I really don't want to work in teams. I want to work on my own. It might be easier at first to work on your own, but after a while, when you learn to collaborate with others, you see how the work gets distributed and it's just a lot better for everybody. My picture up there is my high school graduation in 1988. I'm not that old. I can actually retire next year, guys, in 2022. Okay. And so I have been blessed with 26 years going on 27 in education. At my point, if I decide to retire in October of 2022, I will have an income for the rest of my life that will provide very well for me and my family. And because of the person that I am, I'm already kind of thinking, okay, you know what? I'll share with you a little bit what's next for me because I'm excited about it. But I am always thinking, but you know what? That does not give me any burden. That gives me joy. That gives me joy to think about what I can create next. So I was involved in a lot of clubs and organizations, like I told you, in middle school and high school and in college. I was part of National Honor Society, not even knowing that my GPA, that my grades were ranked. They came and got me out of chemistry class and said, you're going to be in NHS. I'm like, why? Because your grades. And I said, oh, I didn't even know I was competing. So I was part of NHS. My friend Catalina and I were, in that class together. My friend Irene was part of NHS with me. I was like, I really like this being parts of clubs and organizations. So then I became part of DECA, Distributive Education Clubs of America. And I think they still have chapters that exist and they compete and do all these wonderful things. Well, my mentor, Ms. Montemayor, was like, I need you to run for area president, state vice president. I was like, no. I don't want to do that. Do I have to do a speech? She's like, yes, you have to do a speech. I was like, no, I do a speech. So she said, come on, you have the grades. I know you can do it. And I said, okay, well, maybe. So I thought about it. I said, okay, you know what? I will do it. So she practiced with me. She recorded me like right now, seeing myself on camera. I'm seeing myself right there over and over and over again. And I had to watch myself and tweak what I needed to tweak, make sure my hands were not up here on the podium when I was talking, make sure they were down here, that I would say my speech and go through it. And guess what? I won. I became area president, state vice president for DECA. I loved it. I went to a summer camp on leadership with all my other colleagues and all my other officers. And then I realized I really like this leading and working with teams and doing all of that. So I continued to, in OEA, I was an officer too. My teacher didn't know how I was handling everything. I don't know, I just loved it. I was in OEA, I was in DECA, and I was also working as a senior in the co-ops. I was part-time because I had all my credits. So I was doing all of that at the same time. When I went to college, I was part of the Spanish club and we traveled, and I love that. The French club, the special student council for exceptional children, and other organizations. And each of them taught me something. And I took something, some nugget out of all of that. And that's what I want you to keep in mind with all the people that you associate yourself with, the things that you do. Reflect and take something with you, whether it's you think that's something I would do or that's something I would not do, you know? And so I have always been that way. I take my time, I reflect, and I go, that's a lesson learned. That's a lesson learned. That's something that I would never do, or that's something that I might consider doing. So church is very important to me. I'm a daughter of the King in my church, and I've always been connected to church ever since I was before the age of 12. I was an altar server at the age of 12. It was not very common for girls to be altar servers, but I was like, I want to be one. And so I told my mom, I want to be an altar server, Mom. And she was like, I can't take you. I said, I'll walk. So I would walk from my house to Sacred Heart in McAllen, and I would serve at the 8 o'clock mass. And I loved working with the priests. My favorite priest was Father Patricio. He was amazing, so kind. And I just, really leaned on them when my parents at the age of 15, they divorced. So that really, I had the community, I had my friends, I had the church. And if I hadn't had that, I think it would be a lot more difficult. It was very difficult to go through that. But I had all the support systems around me. And I want you to know that, like, whatever you're going through right now, know that anything is possible for you. Know that there's going to be people here that want to help you. We really do. That's what our job is, to help you. So what do I do now? I'm a director, like I shared earlier. I'm an entrepreneur of multiple online businesses. I started this over 10 years ago with my husband. And we said, you know what? Let's just try it out. He is a risk taker, and he said, let's try it out. What's the worst that can happen? If you don't do well, you start another one. It's very easy. It's that simple. Now with the gig economy, when you can work for all these different companies and then get extra income, you become an entrepreneur for yourself. You can develop your own opportunities. To me, the work that I do at Region 1 also is developing jobs for other people by submitting grants, and it's kind of like a wish list. And our former director, Dr. Tina Atkins, may she rest in peace, taught me, one of the things she told me was, Norma, when I wrote the first Gear Up grant, my executive director, Dr. Hatton, said, Tina, just write a wish list. All the things that you wish you could see out there. And that becomes your grant application. So through those wish lists, we have been able to do this for over 20 years. And along the way, we have gotten a lot of people, a lot of jobs for a lot of people also. Think of all the specialists and all the facilitators over the last, I don't think it's been 5 different grants that we have had. So I want you to think about that. It's not just about yourself, but how do you create opportunity for others? How do you think about how you can impact your economy locally? How do you help your neighbors, right, with what they need? I'm also an artist on the side. I paint, and now I'm getting commissioned on my art. So I'm getting people asking me to paint, and I am getting paid for it, guys. And because I'm a lifelong learner. Thank you, Angela. I'm a lifelong learner, and there were some, I did some, a workshop where I went over my values. I went over my goals, and I talked about what I wanted to accomplish and who could help me and by when. And I've been working on this for a while. So one of my goals was to have businesses so that I could continue to run them when I retired. So I've been doing that for over 10 years. Another one of my goals was to learn how to paint and do all that. I have some of my paintings behind me. You can't see them, but I started taking classes in 2008. Acrylic, then watercolor, and now I'm learning online. You can learn so much online. The other things that we do all the time is I took project management through Cornell. I wanted the challenge, try it out, see what happened. And then we brought it to the team and said, hey guys, you all want to go through project management? And our team went through it through UT. And then Angela is a certified project manager. So that's a great skill, because even as you keep going through your life, you get these additional certificates, and there's a lot of micro credentials that you can do. And there's a lot of free courses. I'm taking also a free course at Yale, The Science of Happiness with Dr. Santos. And I just take it just for myself. I go in there, I take the classes, I do some of the stuff, I come back, I read again, I'm always learning. But if you think about your salaries, because Angela brought that up, I want you to think about this. After you reach $75,000, research shows that your happiness level does not increase. $75,000. A lot of times we want to say, oh, I want to make $300,000 a year or whatever, but I want you to think about your lifetime. Think about what I have now. I have a retirement plan for the rest of my life. I have online businesses that I'm going to continue to grow, and I am building more businesses as we speak. I'm thinking about what are the next things for me. So I want you to dream big, because the only one that's going to limit you is yourself. Instead of thinking, I always think, why not for something? I'll say, you know what? Why not? Why can't that be me? Why can't I be the one that does that? Why can't I be the one that takes care of that? Of course, more responsibility comes with it, but don't be afraid of that. You'll get it done. You'll get used to it. At first, it's a little stretch and you're like, oh, a little stressed. And then you're like, okay, I'm comfortable with this. I can do this. What's next? And then you keep going to the next thing and the next thing. It sounds simple, but I want you to keep that in mind, not to limit yourself and say, this is all I'm going to do forever. I want you to know that right now through COVID, there are so many new opportunities. I was listening to something saying that there's people now who go to your home to set up your remote work office. Can you believe that? There's people now that will work with you to create a webinar like this. Because at Region 1, we're a professional development center. So we've had to learn how to use Zoom, PowerPoint technology, Canva, all of these things, just like everybody else. But now there's opportunities for jobs in these areas. So when you look at every path is different for every person. You know, when you think about this, for us, it was really important. Melissa and I, Melissa's my partner in crime. We're always strategizing and planning for our team and our office and for our community and thinking, okay, what's next? You know, and one of the things is you can graduate from high school with certificates, like you can get certified in Google, you can get certified in all these different areas. So if you decide once you graduate from high school that you want to start working, that's fine. And then you say, you know what, I might need to go back and get another certification. You go back, you get your certification. It's kind of like I did. I went to school, I started working. So I was gaining all the skills that I gained were powerful because I learned how to work and work with others and achieve goals and do all that. And then I went and I decided to become a research assistant at the university. So I was working at Service Merchandise. I was a research assistant and I learned about research with my professor there. I did some of that work. And then I decided, you know, after I graduated, I started teaching. I started my master's. Then I got married. So there's a little detour, right? And then I decided I wanted to go for a different promotion. So that required that I finish my master's. I started here at Region 1 16 years ago in 2004. And I finished my master's in December of that year. They hired me with a contingency of, okay, you need to finish your master's. I'm like, I'm almost done. I'm almost done. I'm almost there. So, and then just understand that lifelong learning, the journey continues, that you're going to continue to look at additional opportunities for yourself. Have those stackable credentials that you can get at different schools. The micro-credential program is unbelievable. There's so many schools now because of COVID and others are providing so much more than we had before. Gotta look at my time. Am I over time, Angela?
A little bit, but we're good.
You're good?
Yeah.
So invest in yourself. Here's what it looks like when you look at the return on your investment for your lifetime earnings by level of education. Okay. And when you look at the industry also and how it works from 1990 to 2019, you have to look at everything that's changing and how the industry is changing and where you're going to find the jobs. So you start seeing everything change. And the color that it's turning is blue, which is the healthcare and social assistance. So you know there's going to be a lot of jobs in that area. If you're interested in that area and that's something that you really enjoy, that's great because you can look at all the different opportunities available there. And you know there's going to be a lot of jobs available. The other one, of course, is STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. When you look at your largest associate degree occupations, Here's what they look like. And so these are 2 years. So if you want to study for 2 years, the physical therapy assistants go over 60,000, dental hygienist over 60,000. So it just depends on what your goals are. Then you can go back and you can do 2 more years later and get your bachelor's. So you can do 2 years and 2 years, and then you can go back like me 2 more years and get a master's. And others in our group have gotten doctorates. So you can do all of that. These are the fastest growing occupations in Cameron County. And you can see the home health aides, which is what my mom does right here, keeps growing and growing. You know, as the population ages, you're gonna need more people. Personal care aides, fast food prep and serving workers. So think about that when you're looking at your decisions and you're thinking about what's next for you. The largest associate degree occupations ranked by 2026 employment with the average wages, you can see again, the physical therapist assistants. This is for South Texas. We're gonna need a lot more teachers also, guys, because of COVID and all the changes that have happened. I think Johnny has a question.
Mm.
Unless there was a mistake on that.
Mm.
Are we good?
We're good, yeah.
Okay. And just a few pointers. Be patient with yourself. It takes time to figure out what's next. Don't get scared. Take the next step and then the next step, and you will get there. Instead of thinking, what do I want to be in the future? Think about, who do I want to become? What kind of person do I want to be? How do I want to contribute to society? What problem do I want to solve? What really gives me joy and that I would do for free, right? And I told you, live simply and invest in yourself. Don't go so crazy where you're buying all these things and you're like, you know what, start thinking about, hey, can I save for a computer when I go to college? Can I save a little bit more money so that I can have extra in case anything happens and I can take care of that? Think about this, how can I be of service to others? What problem do I want to solve? What makes me so happy? I would do it for free, right? It doesn't feel like job. It's like, oh, I get to do this. I get to talk and I get paid. It's great. And delay gratification. A lot of times you have to think, like I told you when I wrote all my goals and I wrote the timeline, I had to delay that and wait, but I had to invest in learning, retraining. And then now I'm getting, like I told you, it took me years, but now I'm getting paid to paint. And I love painting. And I love creating businesses and doing all of that. So think about your options and explore, because there's a lot available to you. And there's a lot of jobs that really haven't even been invented. When you look at AI, artificial intelligence, there's a lot you can do in coding. Think about everything we're using here and how it's expanding, how the need is expanding, and it's going to continue. You know, and think about Amazon and how much, you know, we need all the people that are out there shipping, receiving, and all the distribution centers. But I want you to think about, because I'm really big about it, how can you be an entrepreneur and build your own business so you can hire people, create opportunity for others. And when you have reached that point, I want you to pay it forward. I want you to think, how do I give back? That is why I have done this work. I wanted to give back to the community that gave me so much. And so I'm always thinking and bringing in funding together with our team so that we can continue to pay it forward. It's really important that we don't forget that you guys become the servant leaders, and that cycle, that circle continues, because the other generations are going to be looking at you to help them with their future. And it's important that we pay it forward. Here's my information. Please reach out to me, call me, email me, and I'm very happy to have been here with you today.
Norma, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. You're so inspirational, and I know all of the participants today have gotten so many words of wisdom to take into consideration as we go through the remainder of the webinar today, because what we're going to be doing is looking at career choice. Yes. And some of the things that Norma said that stuck out to me is being a lifelong learner, how it's a journey. It's not always a straight path. And Norma talked about some of the, like a frog hopping from one lily pad to another. Sometimes they don't all line up in a straight path. Sometimes you hop around a little bit. And also taking into consideration, how can I serve the community? How can I be of value and service to the community? And Norma also had some really good information looking at what the community needs with the labor market data. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to segue over because I want everyone participating to get the chance to think about now, think of all of the things that you've heard. Think about the inspiration that you've heard from Norma and sharing her story and sharing her advice. And give me just a second. There we go. All right. And so what I want to do is direct you to a website. Chris, am I sharing my screen okay? Is it visible? It looks like it is on my side.
Yes, yes.
Perfect. Sometimes I need that affirmation just to make sure. What we're going to do is we're going to continue on, because remember at the very beginning, I told you we're going to be doing some listening, but you're also going to be creating a model or a simulation and doing some active activities. All of the activities that you're going to be doing are being hosted on a Google site. So what you may want to do, your sponsors and your Gear Up facilitators do have the link to share with you, all of you students, but you may even want to take a quick picture with your phone, and then I'm going to transfer over and show you where all of the magic is housed. So go ahead, take a quick picture. If for some reason I'm a little too swift for you, it's okay. Your Gear Up facilitators do have that information. And once you click on the link for the Millionaires Club, let me move it over here. There we go. It's going to look just like this. This is the website that we've created that's going to navigate you through the 6 weeks experience of creating a model of your adult life. And so first of all, I want you to notice this is the home page. There are some tabbed pages at the top. Right now we're on the home page. In a few moments, I'll take you to week 1. Then there's a page that says competition. We're going to save that for the end, and that's pretty exciting. So let me walk you through the home page. The home page has a welcome message that I wrote to you. It also has a welcome video that I would love for you to click on, because I made a little video for you. And Norma mentioned being recorded when she was doing DECA. And I know the feeling, because recording yourself, it's kind of like, do I sound like that? But yeah, I do, I guess. Anyway, there's the welcome message. Here are the materials that you're going to need for this webinar series. First of all, this link is a hyperlink. When you click it, you'll be downloading an Excel template, and I'll show you that in just a second. Every week, we're going to do a little bit more to create a budget that's realistic based on the lifestyle that you choose, prioritizing saving and investing. So that's available there. The next thing I want you to do is to create an electronic journal. So this is not a hyperlink, but what you'll do is, using your electronic device, you'll open a Word document or whatever type of program you like to use, and you'll create an electronic journal. And every week I'm going to end the session with a journal prompt. And I want you to take that prompt and write a journal entry to reflect on what you've learned. And then the final thing on the home page is a template for you to do a final project with, to showcase everything that you've learned. And so one thing I do want to point out before I leave this area, I've provided a template so that you'll have it, and you're certainly welcome to use it. But if you want to, and I'm going to make this even bigger, notice it says you may edit the slides in a creative way if you want to, or you can create a similar presentation using Google Slides or another type of presentation template like Canva or Keynote or something like that. So what I'm trying to say here is I have a template that you may use, but if you want to showcase what you've learned in a creative way using something else that suits you better, that's totally fine. I'm cool with that. So the template is here for those of you that prefer to use that. So that's the home page. And so now let's move over to week 1. Let's dive in. You ready? All right, let's hope that my computer's ready to cooperate. So week 1, we're going to talk about career and salary. And Norma mentioned how she got started. And I know if you talk to your parents or your friends or your teacher or other people like me, it's an interesting journey that we have to share with you. what you'll notice when you look at this page, we have the activities and the materials that you need. And then we have different steps. So let me kind of show you how I made this happen. Give me just a second. I'm going to put a couple of things side by side for you. Okay. And one thing to keep in mind is some of you may have never used Excel before, which is kind of cool. And you get to learn something new, which is always really fun. So you may be learning something else besides what you thought you were going to learn today, which is really, it's like a bonus. So step one is obviously to open up the salary-based budgeting template. This is a hyperlink, and if you click it, you're going to get an Excel template that looks just like this. Today, we're going to work on step 2, step 3, and step 4 right here. And I'm going to show you how to complete those steps. I'm going to ask you to work with your sponsor or your facilitator to complete those steps and then save your work. I also put a little video here in case you're not really familiar with Excel. This will be really handy to you. It's very short, but it'll kind of give you some ideas on using Excel. So let's talk about, we're going to work on step 2. And I'm circling it with my mouse here, my cursor. And step 2, the instructions for step 2 correspond to step 2 right here on your spreadsheet. Step 2 is income. We're going to figure out an annual gross wage. What could that be? Annual means yearly, gross means the total, and wage is your salary. So the instructions are here. There's a hyperlink to a real cool career search tool called My Next Move. And you may or may not have used it before, but I'm going to show you how to use it. And I really want to encourage you to take some of Norma's inspirational comments to heart and do some exploring, because you're at the most awesome point of your life right now. You're in the 9th grade and you can do anything. You can do absolutely anything. So let's check out what My Next Move looks like. And I'm going to enlarge it so that you have a really good view of it. When you click the link, you come to this website and notice it's in 3 sections. Let me kind of clear this out. If you know what you want to be, but you don't know really what is it called, you just kind of know what it is, and you want to describe it using words, you would use this first section of the website that says search careers with keywords. For example, if you want to be a doctor, or if you want to build houses, but you're not sure what that career is called, you would use this area. If you're not sure what you want to do for a living, or how you want to make your money, or how you want to contribute to your community, but you'll know it when you see it, then you would use this middle area. And this is really cool because there's a drop down and it gives you various career clusters. And you can kind of scroll down and see which ones resonate with you. I believe Norma started in retail with service merchandise, which is awesome. And now she and I both are in education along with Chris. But you can scroll down and see which ones call your name. You know, anytime I've ever applied for a job, it's really interesting because I heard about it and it's like it called my name. So which one of these calls your name? And if you really are just completely wide open and you have not begun to narrow the search down, then the last column right here is perfect for you. Because if you click this start button, this is a little inventory. It will ask you questions about things you like to do, and it will recommend some things, and maybe some of those things you've never even thought of before. So this is a really cool one. Even if you think you know, I would encourage you to do that one anyway, because maybe there's something else that you just haven't thought about. So for the purpose of today's demonstration, I'm going to use the first box. And remember, what we want to do is we're completing step 2 on that template that I asked you to download. So let's just say you want to be a teacher. I'm going to use that as an example. Let me fill it in, teacher. I'm going to click on search and look at this. Look at all the different types of teachers there are. It's not just as simple as saying teacher, right? There's special education teachers, kindergarten teachers, elementary, middle school. The list goes on and on. Preschool, foreign language, economics, on and on and on. All kinds of teachers. So let's just say you want to teach middle school. Okay, I taught middle school for many years and it brought me a lot of joy. Then you would click on it and look at all this information about becoming a middle school teacher. All kinds of information about becoming a middle school teacher. Couple of things to notice. How much education is required? This will inform how long you continue in post-secondary education. Teachers do require a bachelor's degree or some type of a certificate. And then this is what we're looking for today. We're looking for the median salary. So I'm going to click on this button that says local salary info because we want the information for where we're going to live. Unless you're planning to move to another city, and you could put that in if you want to. If you want to move to any state or any city, you could populate it, whatever your life dreams are. But I put in my zip code because I'm using this as an example for you all. I live in Cameron County near the island. And this is my zip code and I'm in the state of Texas. So I'm going to click on go and I'm going to look and see what do middle school teachers in my area, in my community make. And so this is the number right here in the Brownsville, Harlingen area, middle school teachers on average, this is the number in the middle, on average make $53,680. That's on average. Now I want you to remember something. We don't all start there. Usually we start out a little lower when we're brand new. And some school districts pay more than others, but this is the average. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this number right here. This is the annual salary from my area. And I'm gonna type it in right here, 53,680. And I'm even gonna make a little note. I'm gonna become a middle school teacher. Excellent. So that's step one. I'm sorry, step two. Step one was to download the spreadsheet. So that's actually step two is the gross wage. And remember, what we want you to do is don't put middle school teacher unless that's really what you want to be. I want you to use the My Next Move website to put in and research and figure out what you want to be. If today was the day that you're 22 years old, what would it be? What would be your job today? The next thing we're going to do is let's move down to step three, gross versus net pay. So what we're going to do, first of all, we need to get our gross monthly pay. Sounds like it's getting complicated now, right? Not really. Those are just words that make it sound complicated. They're really not. So think about it. If our annual salary for the example is $53,680, how much is that per month? So I'm going to use a calculator and I'm going to divide 53,680 divided by 12 months. Some of you are probably faster than me. You probably already have it right now. So let's see what that is. 53,680 divided by 12. How much is that per month? Survey says $4,473 per month. Awesome. That's not bad. That's a pretty decent amount of money to be making. And you get to be a middle school teacher in this hypothetical situation. So that's step three. Again, sometimes the words kind of make it sound complicated. All we've done is we've figured out the annual salary and divided it by 12, how much for each month. Here's the last thing that we're going to do today on our budget. We want to figure out our net wage. So far, we've done gross annual, gross monthly, and now we want to find out the net. And here's how we're going to do that. You may have heard people talk about when they get their first job about how they get taxes taken out. Yikes. It's a thing. They do take out taxes. Taxes is how our government continues to run. Sometimes we think everything is free, but it's not. So there is a hyperlink here to a salary paycheck calculator. And the website looks like this. And this is how we fill it in. I'll give you an example. First of all, we have to get the right state. We're in Texas. Then we have to get the gross pay. What was it per month? 4,473. Now, here's the part, and I have the instructions on the website, but let me demonstrate it for you. For your gross pay method, that's pay per period. For pay frequency, we're going to imagine it's a monthly check. Use the 2020 W-4, let's put yes there. For federal filing status, this is going to be single unless you're already married. I'm going to venture to say, with you all being in the 9th grade, you all are single. Okay, and so then I'm going to go down to calculate, and I'm going to hope I did all this correctly. And here we go. Here's the answer. These are the taxes that come out of our check. So this is the actual amount the paycheck is for, $37.31. And that amount goes right here. So that's the amount of money that we have to work with in your career. So what I want to ask you to do between now and the next time we meet is to look at the homepage, download the materials that you need, and complete these steps using this page 1 of the website. And I want you to complete step 2, 3, and 4. 2, 3, and 4. Please pay particular attention and give a good amount of time to choosing the career that you really want, because this is going to mean a whole lot more to you if you've put in the career that you really see yourself doing. I challenge you to explore the interest inventory on My Next Move and see if there are other careers that you haven't thought about. Your journal prompt for this week is, what career did you choose and why? What type of education would you need for that career? So that would be your journal entry for this week. Remember, you're going to create an electronic journal on your own, and be sure to save your entries on a weekly basis. And then last thing, I know some of you have friends, or you may need to participate asynchronously sometimes, which means not in the live webinar. So we are recording the webinars, and the recordings will be going down here at the bottom of the page. As soon as I receive those recordings, we'll be putting them there so that you can go back and remind yourself of anything that I said to explain the concepts, or any of the inspirational words that Norma gave us earlier today. There's one last thing I want to inform you of before we conclude today's webinar. And do you remember that I said that there's a competition? Of course, there's a competition. I mean, we wanted to make this really fun for you. So hold on, this is too big. There we go. Sorry about that, guys. You're probably getting dizzy with me going all over the place. Okay, here we go. If you look at the tabbed pages on the Google site, we have home, which we've gone through. We have week 1, which we just did, competition guidelines. Why not make this competitive? Y'all are going to learn a whole lot of cool things. You're going to be making a budget, a spreadsheet. You're going to be making a presentation. You're going to be keeping a journal. Why not have this in the form of a competition? So let me give you an overview of the competition.
Hey guys, and welcome to the Millionaires Club. So, the Millionaires Club competition is a contest hosted by the Region 1 ESC Office of College Career and Life Readiness, in partnership with Gear Up College Now Career Connect and Gear Up College Ready Career Sets.
So the Millionaires Club is a series of online and in-person financial literacy series. After the 6 lessons, you, the student, will have to complete a presentation of what you learned and how it affected you. This competition will be against peers from your campus. Campus winners will move on to compete against other Gear Up campus winners. There will be 5 gold, 5 silver, and 5 bronze winners. The higher you rank, the cooler the tech gear that you will win.
There are 4 presentation guidelines. Number 1, you must have completed a journal and salary-based budget worksheet in order to enter. Number 2, you will videotape a presentation that includes information of the 6 financial literacy lessons in under 3 minutes. Number 3, The presentation must include visual and verbal explanations of the concepts. Lastly, number 4. This is when the judging panel will decide who the winners are and their decision is final.
Now moving on to the judging criteria of the competition. There are 3 criteria that your presentation will be judged on. First is technical skill. In this criteria, judges will determine if your presentation is well organized, clearly presented, and is the information in your presentation correct. In addition, judges will also determine if your presentation is appealing to the audience and is the length of your presentation 3 minutes or less. Next is creativity. Your presentation will be judged on its originality and expressiveness. This means that it must be the student's own work and cannot be plagiarized or in violation of any copyright. Students who are finalists will be required to submit a form that is signed by a teacher or guardian stating that the student's work is original.
Last but not least is your reflection statement. Along with your presentation, each student is required to submit a 250 to 300 word statement that explains how the presentation responds to or engages with financial literacy concepts.
Okay, guys, so campus competition submission period is going to start February 26th and close March 4th, 2021 at 12 p.m. noon. Now, please keep in mind that each student is going to be permitted only one entry. You have one shot. The winning presentation will be announced on April 2nd, 2021, and will be showcased throughout the month of April for financial literacy awareness. So, good luck, and let's be millionaires.
Awesome. So I hope you're excited about that. I know I'm super excited. So the video is here if you want to look at it again and become more familiar with the competition guidelines. The rules for the competition are here, the eligibility requirements, but let me announce the prizes before we wrap things up today. Did you notice in the video that there are going to be 5 first place winners? 5 first place winners. Those 5 first place winners will be, the prize is a Microsoft Surface. There will also be 5 second place winners. And so for the 5 second place winners, the prize is a Dell laptop. And there are also going to be 5 third place winners. And the prizes for the third place winners are Chromebooks. And the other place winners are going to be receiving the noise canceling headphones. So basically, in a nutshell, this is how it works. When you have your presentation ready, you will submit it to your sponsor, and the deadlines are here. The dates are here on this page. Your sponsor will assemble a small team of judges at the campus level, and they will pick the one best project from your campus to submit to Region 1. So every campus will get to submit one student's work to me at Region 1. I will be receiving all of those projects, and I have a team of Deep South Texas Financial Literacy Alliance members, including bankers and business partners. They'll be judging the projects, and they'll be deciding who are the 5 first place, the 5 second place, the 5 third place, and the honorable mention. So we're running a little short on time. I'll go through the competition in a little bit more depth next week. Are there any questions about it before I wrap up? I believe we do have all the guidelines here, and sponsors, if you're thinking that you have questions, we can also talk privately or have another opportunity to ask questions. But for right now, before we close the webinar session for today, are there any questions about the competition component? I hope y'all are excited. I am. Okay. All right. It looks like we don't have any questions. So with that said, that does conclude our first webinar in our series of 6. We've done the first part today. You're going to get a job. You're going to get your future job. You're going to sign. You're going to go to My Next Move, find that job, find that salary, find out how much that is per month, take the taxes out, and imagine you're getting that first paycheck. And we'll pick up next week and talk about how to pay yourself first. That's the secret. I'm already spilling the beans. That's the end of the webinar for today. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for sharing your time with me. And teachers, all of you teachers and sponsors that are tuned in, You all are the true rock stars right now. So from my heart, thank you so much for everything you do and all of your support. Bye-bye, everybody.